Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Alba, Mr. Loughney. Thank you for your presentation. India sounds like India is the place to be the next decades. Now we have a brief session of Q&A that will not take long. First, a question about exports. Do you have any ideas or suggestions for Spanish small and medium companies to export to India? There are any sectors or products that you would think that could be a success in your country? But you can.
It's on.
You can use the mic.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. There are what? Over 1 million companies in Spain, of which just 6,000 odd companies export to India. So in terms of numbers, of course, the numbers can increase tremendously. In terms of products, except for a few tariff lines, the rest of the Indian market is completely open. I would say that India would increase to be a market in different sectors. I have listed the various sectors where more investments are possible. India has a middle class which is what? At least 3 times the size of the population of Spain. A conservative estimate is 150 million. A more realistic estimate, I would say, is anywhere above 200 million, which have the same purchasing power in big cities as you would have in major cities in Europe. The problems, I would presume, are distance, both physical distance and with respect to familiarity. India appears a little daunting at the beginning. For a new Spanish company from the middle of Spain, first time traveling to India, it is a little bit of a shock. But I think the shock sort of wears down fairly quickly. And if I were to go by the testimonies of Spanish companies who are already there for the last 5 to 10 years, nobody wants to leave. It is a good opportunity. In terms of trade restrictions, there are no specific trade restrictions on Spain. It is the same format that we use with respect to the EU. So there are no Spanish specific trade restrictions or trade facilitations. It is a EU-based thing. We understand that there are certain issues which are of particular interest to Spain. For example, Spanish wines are not necessarily have free entry into India, but that's not a problem specific to Spain. It's an issue that we still need to sort out in the free trade agreement discussions that are still going on between EU and India.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. There is another question about IT. You have said in your speech, information technology companies from India are supplying services worldwide. They are very popular right now, and they are very famous because of the talent of their workforce. Also, because of the good prices, they are cheaper than in Europe or United States. In your opinion, what's the forecast for this sector for the next 10 years for IT companies, IT services, providing services to abroad?
Yeah, thank you. Of course, I didn't mention one of the most important sectors of the Indian economy, which is the ICT sector, the information communication technology sector, and the digital economy that is going forward. India is in a process of transition. 10 years ago, we produced large numbers of low value digital services. We are by force and by our own abilities moving up the value chain. You would have seen this discussion with respect to what is happening in the United States with respect to the H-1B visas. Well, of course, we would like visa regime in a country like the United States to be as open as possible. That's the natural expectation of any foreign country. But our own companies are determined to move up the value chain. There are already a couple of Indian major companies based in Spain. More can be done, of course. But we also hear examples of small Spanish companies who are already there in Bangalore and working for the Latin American market. So the opportunities there themselves are huge. Let me also give you an example of an application of the digital technology in the financial field. You would have read in the newspapers that our Prime Minister led this process of digital financial inclusion. We started that in November last year, firstly by the demonetization of old notes, but moving into digital financial inclusion, which is the use of smartphones or cell phones to undertake financial transactions. That program today is the largest digital financial program in the world. Now, Spanish companies already have considerable experience in that. Spanish banks are pretty good in that. So we would very much like Spanish banks to look at the opportunities that are opening up, are just about opening up now in the digital financial inclusion program in the world. It's the largest digital financial program in the world. Why do I say that? You see, we are now getting used to, in India, the fact that you can pay your communal services, your gas bill, your electricity bill through a bank. In Spain, you've been doing it for 20, 30 years. It's not new to you. So your digital networking for social services, you already have some experience of that. Now, that needs to be, of course, transformed and configured for India's conditions. Of course, India is large and India has certain specific requirements, because the same model that you use, say, in Europe or Latin America cannot be easily done in India. But if you have the initial experience, you already have an advantage. So we would very much like Spanish companies and Spanish banks to take advantage of this. And there too, the field is completely open. And it's a very competitive field. It's an extremely competitive field, because you have good young people everywhere. You have good young people, clever people in India. You have good young, clever people, and they are everywhere. But the digital field actually brings together not just new technology, it also brings together the aspirations of young people. And that is coming together in India in a very, very, very powerful way.
Thank you. There is a political question regarding the relations between India and the US. How do you see the relations between both countries within the Trump administration the next 4 years?
No, we have absolutely excellent relations with the United States. We have relations of strategic partnership, which has been in force for a long time. There is complete bipartisan support within the US political system on the importance of relations with India, and that has been reaffirmed by the new administration under President Trump. We just finished the first visit of a high-ranking American official, the National Security Advisor, Mr. McMaster, was in India. We had excellent relations. He had an excellent visit, and we reaffirmed India and the United States. Of course, they have a very strong bilateral relationship, from the political, defense, economic, technology, health, you name it, agriculture to transport to. But we also have a very strong relationship in cooperating on regional issues and on global issues. And I would say, looking at your relationship, Spain's relationship with the United States vis-a-vis looking at it from Madrid, I would say there are certain similarities. I mean, you too have very good relations with the United States, and I think there is a strong desire on both the part of Spain and the United States to carry this forward, and it's very similar to the approach being adopted by India.
Thank you. Well, we are almost in the time to finish. There's a couple of questions to finish. Here, well, you have said that India has more than 20 cities with a population over 5 million people. However, there are many rural and country areas that don't have the facilities or the infrastructure. You have spoken about this plan of infrastructure. There are more opportunities for companies like Abertis or similar companies in this sector in the next years. Do you think there will be more chances to develop?
Of course, the reality of India is that we are a very large and diverse country. Though we are growing at the rates that we've been growing for a while, and we expect it to grow even more, the priority for the country and the priority for the government continues to remain the fact that there are still a very large number of people who need to be brought into the national mainstream in terms of economic opportunities and social development. We've made a huge progress in this respect, but there's a lot that needs to be done. In terms of health and education, I think there are huge opportunities. In terms of electricity supplies, it is the intention of the present government that by 2019 they wish to have every village in India having at least one electricity line, one power line. And there are 600,000 villages in India. It seemed impossible 5 years ago. It doesn't seem so difficult now because we've made a lot of progress. Now, I would say, with respect to Spanish companies having experience in Europe and Latin America, it's not that Spanish companies don't have this expertise. They have done some tremendous work in extension of solar energy or power in remote areas in Latin America. So in a small scale, you already have a little bit of that expertise. Of course, India is not a small scale. Nothing in India is small scale. So you would need to bring that expertise and build on that and adapt it to Indian conditions. How would you do that? If you were to create a refrigerator for storing vaccines, and you need to send it to a village where there is no electricity, so you would then need to have a cooperation between a renewable energy company which creates solar panels, which connects it to creating a refrigerator, a freezer, which puts vaccines which then are mobile and are able to be kept. So the margins on this may be small. I mean, it's still a small solar panel. It's still a small freezer. It will not cost in the market. This combination will not cost more than $200. So a company might think, what is the margin for me in $200? But if you produce the same thing in 20 million numbers, you would, then the calculations are completely different. So we would very much like Spanish companies to look at India, not only in terms of what they already have, which is very good, but also in terms of the opportunities that will arise if you look at India in the spirit that India needs to be looked at. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Last question, but not the least question. It's about soccer, about football. Let's guess there is another European Championship final between two Spanish teams, let's say Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, for instance. What is your favorite, or could you bet on any of these teams? We want to put your diplomacy to the test.
If this is, I think, the most difficult question you asked. But I must say, fortunately, I'm an ambassador with very negligible experience in Spain. I've been here just 4 months. Every place I go and every match I watch, I tend to shift my loyalties from one to the other.
Well done. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for coming. It's been a pleasure having you here. We look forward to seeing you here in our forum in the future. We wish you all the best in your stage in our country, and thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you everyone for coming here. Thank you.